Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Vivian.
And we hope you enjoy the show. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Railway Series Book Club. And Merry Christmas! It's Christmas Eve! This is the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast that gives you the most festive cheer.
Oh,
Hey,
I
welcome everybody. This is the gayest Christmas podcast around.
I prepared for Christmas the best way possible, like by drinking 7 spiked eggnogs and then crying while watching Shrek the Hole. So I'm ready to go.
See, Matt, you say that as
Christmas
a joke,
season.
but that's entirely on brand for you.
No, it's not. I don't drink alcohol.
No, but crying while watching Shrek the Holes is like, I can imagine you doing that.
Okay, I cried like 4 times in the past hour before this, and that's not
Are you
because...
good?
No, it's not because I'm sad, it's because it's watching Love Live.
Hey, okay, so what I'm getting away from this is we should probably not watch Shrek the Holes at any point in our relationship.
I mean, yeah, it's Shrek the Holes. Why would we?
I've been preparing for the Christmas season by continuing my watch-through of the Justice League animated series. It's very good, and we're almost to the Christmas episode in that.
Nice.
Which is a very good episode. It'll be immediately followed up by Starcrossed, which will undo a lot of the warm fuzzies, but you know what? It's worth it.
That's the best sort of
The only
episode.
Christmas thing I've seen recently is the Christmas special for the Ghost and Molly McGee, which I liked a lot.
Fun.
Have I watched anything Christmassy?
I also technically watched every Christmas episode from 17 to 20 to 21. So,
Oh yeah. I forgot that you did that. I haven't.
I did do that, and then I just didn't watch A Shed for Redwood or Fastest Red Engine on Sodor because I enjoyed my CGI series rewatch and didn't want to end it with depression.
Speaking of Thomas the Friend and Christmas, there are a lot of Christmas episodes in Thomas the Friend.
There are.
Including the phase
than
where
4.
they said Winter Holiday instead of Thomas, because, like, you know, as good of an idea it would be to talk about other winter holidays in Thomas instead of just Christmas. Every time they talked about it, it was just, you know, Christmas being called generic winter holiday. But that's neither here nor there.
I like the episode where like they
The
have...
Winter Holiday Tree.
Yeah, the one where they have like I was gonna say Mr. Krabs. What the fuck?
Mr. Snowman?
No, the one where like Sir Topham Hatt walks out of like a forest of Christmas trees in a Santa outfit, and they're like, "Whoa,
yes,
happy
Henry's
winter
Magic Box,"
which is an
episode.
amazing title out of context.
Yeah. What a terrible episode.
Did they start doing the like winter holidays thing in the hit model era, or was that just a CGI?
That was
thing?
season 6 actually.
Yeah.
Because the
earliest mention of it, I think, was It's Only Snow.
I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, when they, like, started it, like, even when it was blatantly Christmas, not calling it that, because I swear in, like, stuff like Don't Tell Thomas, they still said it was Christmas.
I haven't watched Don't Tell Thomas.
It's been a while since I watched Don't Tell Thomas.
I
don't think I've ever actually watched Don't Tell Thomas, because I was about to say I haven't watched Don't Tell Thomas in X amount of time, but, like, I don't think I've actually like watched it all the way through, because
it's one of the better
it's
hit model
boring.
episodes, in my opinion. I always liked it.
Okay. Well, the funny thing about Thomas Christmas stories is that it's a pretty well-known tradition that most seasons will have a Christmas story, or, you know, just winter stories in general. But in terms of Christmas, there was only one Christmas story in the books, and it was this one.
Which never got adapted into an episode for some fucking reason.
No, it got
Yeah,
it got 1 minute. 20
Yeah,
seconds,
this is the
actually.
first story.
I counted.
This is the first story that was well and truly skipped by the TV series. And, like, a scene from it is recreated in Thomas's Christmas party. Other than that, it's completely untouched. Which is extremely weird, considering that they did Thomas's Christmas party, which was an original story they wrote, which was a sequel to the story they were skipping. And then they commissioned Audrey to write a book version of that because of the contract they had. It's really weird.
I have a lot of ideas, like, for why that might have happened, which... Should we talk about that now or later? Because...
I feel like maybe it'd be good to get the stuff
so you
with
can do it whenever.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be good to get the stuff with the story, like, kind of meta stuff out of the way first, so we can focus on the story itself.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I don't actually have a lot to say on the story itself. But, if I had to guess, it's probably a mix of the fact that this episode is a lot of human scenes, and especially a lot of human scenes in a small house where the engines can't even be at all for, like, reaction shots or anything, which, like, season 1 tried to cut down as much as it possibly could. And I think it was also probably they wanted an episode for the finale where, like, the whole cast was together. So
And then
that's...
Birdie got invited to the party, but Terrence didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, but Terrence
Terrence was helping clear out the. Terrence was helping clear snow to the house.
Yeah,
He's, you know,
Terrence helped clear the house, but he also wasn't invited to the party, seemingly.
we just didn't see him.
Yeah, he's probably like chugging on his way there. You know,
Yeah.
he might have like.
Imagine
he
he
might
gets
have
there
showed
and
up
it's been
just as
over
the
for like
cameras
4
cut.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, have you seen how slow he is?
It's January
He's just like a
1st.
little tractor putting along.
I'm here for the party, everyone. Terrence, it's October.
Oh.
But yeah, like,
Uh,
I'm guessing it was a combination of that, the fact that they didn't want to cut, because, like, logistically, I think it probably would have been best if they cut the Gordon episodes, and then, like, left a spot for, like, say, like, Henry and the Elephant, and,
yeah.
like, this, but then they also probably didn't want to do that, since they needed Off the Rails for Down the Mine to make sense, and
Yeah,
they had already
honestly,
filmed Down
I don't know why they didn't.
They already...
I can't help but think the only reason they kept Down the Mine in there was because they did that as like the test pilot and then
Yeah.
felt the need to keep it in anyway.
Yeah, no,
Which
It's
that's
because
dumb.
they probably reused everything from the pilot. Like, I know there's, on the wiki, there's a bunch of shots that are kind of, like, theorized to have been, like, pilot footage, and, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just remade the exact same sets and stuff, so they probably just did that for, like, easy budgeting stuff. And then, like,
Yeah.
they didn't want to do Paint Pots and Queens as the finale, which is... I feel like the only real story where you could have, like, an everyone is there finale because of,
Yeah.
like, the stuff we've talked about.
Do you think that was because Brit was like didn't want Solo to be a real place, and she was still very tightly under Audrey's control at that point?
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably. You know, I feel like earlier on they were a bit looser with it. Like, you know, they mentioned crew, they mentioned, you know,
They
I
mentioned
guess I did
Bournemouth.
say she just went to the scene side. I don't know. Like, you know, I feel like if they can mention crew, they can say it's the Queen and not say... Because I don't think in the episode they ever say, oh, the Queen of England, that place that's right next to us.
No, they just say
Um,
the Queen.
I think it's because
Yeah,
they
so,
say
you know,
that
they
say that in the story, though, don't they?
I don't know. We'll have to see next book. But, you know, I think you are right, and it probably was better in the long run, because they established the tradition of the big Christmas party episodes, where everyone's together at the end of the season to celebrate, which, you know...
And there's always one
I think
character
that's
who's not
great.
invited.
That's I
This
like
season it was Birdie. This season it was Terrence. Next season it's going to be Daisy.
I like that with Daisy, it's because they couldn't have her there.
Yeah, they literally couldn't because Boko was there.
Just like hide the back of Daisy behind like Ben and just put like a truck chassis under her.
No, because she wouldn't have wheels in general, and like the like chassis probably didn't fit. So like, they had to...
I mean, they could easily do the same trick that they did with Boko at the fucking Clearwater exhibition, where they just put an express coach truck under him.
God. Wait, Boko didn't have...
he was in the station anyway. They could have. It would have been easy to hide.
Boko didn't have motors there.
No, because Daisy has it.
Yeah,
because
Daisy had it right now. Like, because she's still trapped in Drayton Manor.
Huh.
So they just brought Boko's front bogie and the express coach bogie, and everything else of Boko was just his hollow shell.
Huh.
I am only a hollow shell of what I once was.
Yeah, being in the grasp of Samuel Winkydink will do that to you.
I will also say though, with this episode, I also don't know if they could have made this story 4.5 minutes if they adapted it into season 1, because like, obviously they wouldn't need all the narrations and stuff, and we probably would have gotten less of the Morris noises, and like, when you cut that stuff out, I don't know if it would make 4.5 minutes.
See,
yeah,
as a kid,
it is kind of a short
I remember
story.
being really confused because I thought that an episode where Thomas nearly hits a landslide existed, and I just couldn't find it.
Live Steam, or the artist formerly known as like the old SI3D Productions guy, did like an edit where they actually made it perfectly fit the runtime this episode. So it could have worked, but it did kind of there are a lot of reasons why it makes sense that they didn't do it, but also a lot of reasons why it's kind of weird. We've done a lot of talking about the meta surrounding this story, as interesting as it is, but I think it's only fair that we give the story its fair dues and start talking about it and reading it. It was nearly Christmas. Annie and Clarabelle were packed full of people and parcels. Thomas was having very hard work. Come on, he puffed. We're feeling so full. We're feeling so full, grumbled the coaches. Thomas looked anxiously at the hill. Can I do it? Can I do it? He puffed anxiously. Suddenly, he saw a handkerchief waving from a cottage window. He felt better at once. Yes, I can! Yes, I can! He puffed bravely. He pulled his hardest, and was soon through the tunnel and resting in the station. I like this opening shot of, Thomas passing the house. It's cool.
He look large.
Yeah. Dolby perspective does that to you.
I mean, I guess he would be large.
This is something I know a lot of people don't really like it. I like when Thomas is portrayed as like a pretty big engine. Like, obviously he's not like Gordon's scale, but I like it when he's like on the noticeably bigger side of the tank engines.
Yeah, I think there is a charm when Thomas is kind of like an awkward size, I guess.
I like man-like.
He's an awkward
kind
guy.
of awkwardly big. It's neat.
Thomas is chunky as fuck.
Yeah. Oh man, speaking of this thing that's gonna ruin... God, it's fucking Ross Austerity Engine, friend of the podcast, pointed this out in a tweet, and it's gonna ruin the way I see, realistic styled Thomases for the rest of time in my eyes. Which is that Audrey's model, Mark III Thomas, had different wheels from the original Hornby Thomas, and they're actually like... I don't know what they're pulled from, but scale-wise, they're like a lot bigger than the actual E2 wheels. So I think that's probably the canon reason why Thomas would have wheel splashers when the E2s didn't in real life, because he has bigger wheels. So that's going to bother me forever now when realistic takes on Thomas don't have the bigger wheels.
Do the splashers do anything?
They cover the wheels.
What the wheel splashers do is they cover the wheels, and they also essentially they're a little bit of an indent for the wheels to go into if they're big enough to where they're gonna knock into the running board. Essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the area like below the splashes is hollow, so the wheel can fit into it. So like Thomas doesn't have to worry about essentially like scraping his undercarriage with his wheels.
That makes sense. I just didn't know if they actually, like, the wheels actually went into those.
Well, to be fair, in a lot of the TV series models, the wheels only kind of barely go into them.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a thing on real engines, and the TV series designs just kind of lost that little intricacy.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
hashtag aesthetic.
I mean, I don't mind it because I like the Soda engines having wheel splashes, and like I like the wheels being clearly visible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would probably be a nightmare to make the models, like, actually have the wheels go in properly and everything.
I mean, they make it work on, like, you know, real model engines. I don't know. It's...
But this was all in 1984, and they had to fit a smoke unit and iMech in. So they needed as much space as they could get.
You know, they were also trying to recreate the TV series bodies while also using donor parks from Marklin engines. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 1 is very similar to, like, Gen 1 Pokemon, in that everything just kind of held together with hope and the prayers that it'll work out.
Yeah.
God, I wish there was, like, a Season 1 glitch where you could replace the entire cast with level 100 Bulbasaurs that only know self-destruct.
That would be awesome. That was Mrs. Kyndley who waved to you, Thomas, his driver told him. She has to stay in bed all day. Poor lady, said Thomas. I am sorry for her. Engines have heavy loads at Christmas time, but Thomas and Toby didn't mind the hard work when they saw Mrs. Kyndley waving. But then it began to rain. It rained for days and days. Thomas didn't like it, nor did his driver. Off we go, Thomas, he would say. Pull hard and get home quickly. Mrs. Kyndley won't wave today. Okay, so this is the first page where we see Toby in his new livery. Before I get into that, I want to point out that for some reason Mrs. Kyndley has a picture of Toby in his new livery. But this is supposed to be set in, like, the same year as Toby arrived. So, like, I just wonder when in the year Toby arrived on Sodor now, because that'd be a really quick turnaround time for Toby to already be repainted into his new livery, and for Mrs. Kyndley to already have a framed picture of him in that livery.
For some reason,
That's the thing, like, would someone like that even be able to afford, like, a printed color photograph at this time?
I don't know. It could be a painting, I guess.
Maybe she's a really talented artist, and then she liked to draw before she got sick.
Toby did it.
That'd be fun. Oh, of course. Dolby, canon person in this universe.
I mean, Audrey
I mean,
and
I
his
guess
kids
he
exist,
is,
so...
but...
Wait, is he actually?
I mean, there is that
it-
one page.
it's-
There is that one
it's-
page in Duck and the Diesel Engine where it's just Audrey pointing at Duck and being like, "This is what he looks like."
Yeah, that's him, you know, pointing out what Duck's supposed to look like to Dolby, apparently.
I love that.
Wait, what?
That's such a great Easter egg.
Okay, so you want to know a fun fact? You want to know the fun fact, Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Duck and the Diesel Engine, there's like a page of, I think it's like Duck and James with like people surrounding them. It's in like I think the first. I think it's in like one of the first or second pages.
Yeah.
And in that image, you can see what is very clearly Audrey, because he has like the hair and the glasses and like his dress and everything, the way he dresses, pointing at Duck with somebody who looks like Dolby with him, and the understanding is that that is meant to be Audrey dragged Dolby to Sodor in the universe and just showed him Duck to show him what he's meant to look like.
I love that, because there was a different guy illustrating by that point. So
Yeah,
either
it
Audrey
was
told
a
him
fucking,
to do that, or he knew about how much they didn't get along.
It was Kenny's second book, and he already felt comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I can do this. Alternatively, like, I don't remember. I think Kenny also, like, made some kind of Duck snafu in his first book, because Duck and the Diesel Engine was his second. So maybe it was him, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was Toby.
Was Duck in his first book?
Yeah, like remember that one illustration in Gordon Goes Foreign where he's at 260?
No.
Look at the image with Big City Engine. He's at 260 there.
Damn.
He's just
So,
reproducing.
Jamie, do you want to go off about Tobias?
Yes, I would like to talk about Tobias and why Toby's aesthetic peaked in this story, and everything else in the Railway series has been a downgrade afterwards. Because, like, this is the perfect look for Toby. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
Implying that's Toby's peak performance. You've seen his time around the Copley Hill circuit.
So, you know, everybody likes to clown on the blue side plates, and I think, I mean, some people do. TV series fans tend to sometimes, just because, you know,
cute.
they'll just slap neon blue on, like, TV Toby side plates and be like, ew, this looks ugly. Why would people like this? And I mean, when we get to Spong's work, he uses a lot of, like, extremely bright colors, but also Toby's woodwork is entirely wrong. Toby's, like, the blue side plates work at their best when they're kind of like a dark blue, you know, which I feel like should be the same kind of, like, you know, blue that's the, you know, like the same kind of blue as, like, you know, the blue engines, you know, not like a dark blue, but like kind of like a, not like neon blue, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's fairly consistent in the illustrations that we see in this book, where they're kind of like, you can tell they're supposed to be the same shade of blue. But also Toby's woodwork is just so good in this story. It's a little hard to tell in this illustration that I have here because it is extremely saturated, but in the final shot we see of Thomas and Toby, or not the final shot, because that's, you know, that's not a good angle, but like the shot where, like, you know, all 5 of the engines and coaches are heading out to go see Mrs. Kyndley. The color grading on this scan is much better, so this is the example I work off of. You know, it's got a great blue that matches. He's got some nice dark chocolate brown paneling for the main body, and his support beams are in kind of like a, I want to say kind of like a cherryish shade that's kind of like, you know, or orangey or reddish or pinkish. I don't know. Point is, it's a very good color, and this is peak Toby to me. It's just this color combination. But like immediately after this story, in 8 Famous Engines, the Toby's like side planks immediately start becoming a bit lighter, and then his support beams start to become a bit more yellowy. And by the time of Branchline Engines, his like wood planks are just like a yellowish like orange, like a bright orange, and his support beams are like yellow, which like sometimes it looks okay, but once we get to the Spong stuff, it's not flattering at all.
I mean,
It's just faded.
I am a slut for the Edwards illustrations, so I love Toby in those, but I also absolutely hate Toby in Spong's illustrations.
Edwards was... which one?
Edwards was Stepney to Tramway Engines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really wish that the livery that was established in this book was, like, a lot more solid in the books following it, because this is a really good look for Toby. Like,
Yeah.
that's part of the problem I have with TV series Toby, because, like, he's fine for the most part, but in certain, like, seasons and lighting conditions, like, the wood look that's supposed to look kind of, like, ratty and not well looked after on the tramway really just does not fit in a Sodor environment. So this nice polished dark brown and the you know, the kind of rosy support beams, it looks so good. It visually symbolizes that Toby is well looked after here. So the fact the TV series doesn't have it is kind of like, you know, it's not always that bad, but like
I still think
I
about how they
greatly
set him on
prefer him
fire
with the
at one
more
point.
tricked out livery.
Maybe that's why they didn't waste time, like, or not waste time, but like they didn't spend time improving Toby's like livery because he had already caught fire by that point, so they just weren't sure if the model would hold out.
That is fair. He did catch fire a lot. It's because you know,
Wait,
he is made of wood.
It
Makes
happened
sense.
multiple times.
I don't think so. That might have been hyperbole on my part. I don't actually know.
If he did,
but
that would be funny.
that would be funny. I mean, he's made of wood. What do you think's gonna happen? But yeah, I vastly prefer Toby when his body is made of dark oak, and I do not prefer it when he is made of acacia. I am now going to provide an image of Toby, a Toby shed that I made in Minecraft to prove my point.
Nice. It does look like
You may
him.
not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
I don't know why, but I found this again.
It honestly does just kind of look like you buried Toby and turned him into a shed.
This is
I
the
did.
bad ending to the last book, or the first
Bad
story.
ending. Yeah,
So the
he
bad
is now a
ending
garden
of
shed.
the bad
This is when you
ending.
pick the wrong ending in the Telltale Thomas game that totally exists.
So the bad ending for Toby and the Star Gentleman is Toby is forcibly transported into Minecraft and becomes a shed.
Yeah, you see,
Yes.
the railway closes, and he's just alone in a shed, and then Sonic comes in, and then punches him, and then boom.
Okay, I have an
We'll just
actual
cut from
thought
here
on
to the
this
next
page.
page.
I have an actual thought on this page.
Yes.
So, why the fuck does Thomas not... Like, why does his driver have to explain who Mrs. Kyndley is if she has a picture of Thomas framed on her wall? Like,
Yeah, it's
is there
really
like a weird, like,
it's a
parasocial
little
relationship going on here?
I thought like the thing on the
maybe.
I thought the thing on the first page was like like of where like Thomas sees the flag and then like hurries up was like him being excited to see her or something.
See, I assumed
Yeah,
that too, but
I-
at the beginning of this page it also says, like, it's also the fact, like,
Yeah.
the driver explaining who she is.
No,
As if
that's what I
Thomas
mean.
is
So
Which
I
is
was-
why like this exposition is weird.
I was gonna save this for later in the story, but my big thing about the story is that this really should have been a story where Toby takes focus and he needs to have it explained that that's Mrs. Kindly.
Yeah.
And, like, he
Yeah.
gets stopped by the landslide. Like, it's Toby's book. It makes sense for the story to be about Toby, but it's mainly about Thomas. So, like, I feel like that's a definite improvement the story could have
Is Toby
needed.
gonna be
You-
lying
if you
besides
think-
Happy Christmas?
You know, if you think about it,
I don't
Toby
think
only
so.
actually stars in one of the stories in this book.
Yeah, so this would have been good to, you know, give Toby another starring role.
I do think James in a Mess works as like a Toby story though, because he gets to just take the
It
piss
absolutely
out of
does.
I'm leaving
James.
you.
Yeah, like that does a lot
Oh.
for Toby's character.
Rip.
This one doesn't
Bye.
so much.
Yeah, no, I said if you use the American title, I'm gonna leave you. I
They
gotta
they
follow through
don't
on it,
know
sorry.
that because
I'm sorry, Mari,
the edit just said I'm gonna, and then I cut it there.
Mari, the marriage is over.
Which I'm so glad you all like that, by the way.
The band is over.
Rip.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I feel like Toby starring in this story would be good because it would give him more than just Toby and the Stout Gentleman and then like supporting roles in Thomas in Trouble and Dirty Objects.
Supporting
Yeah,
roles in the rest
it
of the
would've been a lot
Railway
better.
series.
Yeah, you know.
Listen, Toby in the rest of the series is great because he just doesn't give a fuck, and I think that's great.
Does he
Yeah.
get another main role in Audrey's run?
He's pretty. There's Branchline Engines where he's pretty major in Bullseye, and then there's Mavis's stuff where he's pretty
Yeah,
major in
true.
both those stories.
Also,
You know, he's not like the
Doubleheader.
he's not like the lead character, but he's extremely like, you know, he's extremely there.
It's like James
Also,
and a Mess type
Doubleheader.
stuff.
Doubleheader is also his.
Dirty objects type stuff.
Also, like, Yeah, like fucking, I just again double header, which is
Yeah.
literally just him and James fucking around on the main line for an hour.
Yeah. I think it's really nice that Mrs. Kindly inspires the engines. It's very
Yeah,
nice. You know what else is nice? Johnny Morris's narration for the story. It's really nice.
I the way you said, "Do you know what else is nice?" I thought you was gonna lead into a NordVPN sponsorship.
Oh my god. Oh shit, we forgot to shill the Discord. Join the Discord.
This episode of Railway Series Book Club is not sponsored by NordVPN.
We're also not sponsored by Discord. Don't give Discord your money. But join the Railway Series Book Club.
And
You
give
know,
us your money.
we don't have a Patreon, but
We'll make a Patreon. Give me your money. I'll make a Patreon.
oh no. But whether she waved or not, they always whistled when they passed the little lonely cottage. Its white walls stood out against the dark background of the hills. "Hello!" exclaimed Thomas's fireman one day. "Look at that!" The driver came across the cab. "Something's wrong there," he said. Hanging, flapping, and bedraggled from a window of the cottage was something that looked like a large red flag. "Mrs. Kindly needs help, I expect," said the driver, and put on the brakes. Thomas gently stopped. So this part of the story is directly inspired by The Railway Children by Edith Nesbit. I saw that as a play once in London when they had the actual train there as part of the staging. It was cool.
Wait, you've
Okay.
been to London?
Yeah, I've been to lots of places. I've been to London multiple times.
Can I go off quickly?
Yes.
Words cannot express to you how much I love the Railway Children.
It's a charming story.
Okay, I had like it was either 2003 or like the 1970 something version on DVD as a kid. I loved that movie. It was one of my favorite movies ever, and I absolutely adore it. And I'm still pissed off that when they made a new version of the book, they changed the emotional resolution where fucking, like, I think her name's Bobby, I don't really remember at the moment. Bobby, like, sees the dad on the platform and they hug and they reconcile. They changed that meeting to them going to visit the dad in fucking jail halfway through the story and ruin the entire scene, and there wasn't even any emotional resolution at the end. I fucking hate it.
I liked it when the train came into the stage. It was cool. I don't remember which engine it was because we weren't allowed to take pictures. I'm sure it's on Wikipedia somewhere. But,
I'm fairly sure the most of the live shows actually use Sterling Number One.
It might have been. I remember it being a green engine, but I think I would have like remembered if it was Sterling number one.
One of the Bluebell, Southeastern, and Chatham engines.
That might have been it.
I
think it was an 060 or something.
Mari can confirm, I went off to her about the changes to the Railway Children once.
Yeah,
So in the Railway Children, the big climax, the big kind of action-y climax in it, is that, the kids are kind of like on the line, and the girl, the oldest sister, pulls out a red handkerchief and just kind of waves it around to stop the train that's coming right towards them. So this is different. It's not like a really literal interpretation of the events in the book, but it's very similar. So very clearly inspired by it, but it's different enough where there's no way to really call it like a ripoff or anything.
See, I don't actually remember the handkerchief, because in the movie I had as a kid, there was a landslide in the film, which is definitely what this is based on, and then
okay.
And then basically what happened was, I don't remember which version of the film this is, so this could be like only one version. Basically, they see the landslide, and I think like they're all wearing a little bit of red, so like they rip part of the red off their clothes and just start waving it. Like they jump down onto the tracks from like a little cutting and start running along, waving the red like part of their clothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it might have been red parts of their clothing in like the musical too, but I think they did end up they probably like changed it just to suit the medium in like the show I
Yeah.
saw, because I haven't seen the movie or read the book, so I'm pretty much
I
relying
actually
off of
I
old
actually own the
memories.
book. I just haven't gone around to reading it because I got it at like a Scholastic book festival.
Hmm.
Along with, weirdly enough, the sequel I didn't know existed.
There's a sequel to The Railway Children?
Yeah, it's called The Return of the Railway Children.
Well, how do you make a sequel to that story?
I think it's with entirely new Railway Children.
Okay.
So really, it's not a sequel to The Railway Children. It's a book about children related to a railway very vaguely that is called Return of the Railway Children.
It's a next generation spin-off.
It's like the fucking second Digimon show.
God.
Is that
Digimon
one bad?
Adventure
I heard that
2.
one was bad.
There are like questionable parts of it, but I had fun watching it. A lot of people just don't like it because they watch the dub where everyone's annoying. Some things are annoying in the sub too, but it's a lot less grating when you don't have like shitty English ad-libs going in and everything's being spoken in a language you don't actually understand.
Dubbed or subbed.
God. Railway Children anime adaptation.
I would watch it.
Sure.
Including the part, I don't know if they had this in the show you saw, but the part where like I think like a Nazi shows up at one point.
What the fuck? The guard came squelching through the rain up to Thomas's cab, and the driver pointed to the flag. See if there's a doctor on the train, and ask him to go to the cottage. Then walk back to the station and tell them we've stopped. The fireman went to see if the line was clear in front. 2 passengers left the train and climbed to the cottage. Then the fireman returned. We'll back down to the station, said the driver, so that Thomas can get a good start. We shan't get up the hill, the fireman answered. Come see what has happened. So our good friend and fellow host, Mari, has had to dip out of the podcast for personal reasons.
She died.
Oh no!
I'm a widow.
I thought you just divorced her.
Listen, we got married again quickly.
Okay, and then she died.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be sure to like consult our Ouija board to get her thoughts on the story's ranking and this book's ranking before we end the episode. So, never fear. Anyway, very rude of the driver to assume whatever doctor on the train that's gonna treat Mrs. Kyndley is a dude. Like, come on, man. It's 1950. We're better than that.
Thomas's driver canonically sexist.
Oh no.
Yeah. Thomas never listened to a woman.
What I imagine happens is the guard goes into the coach into like fucking Annie or Clarabelle or whatever and asks for, a doctor and asks for him to go up to the cottage. And there is a female doctor on the train, but she doesn't go out of spite.
Just fucking imagining like Thomas's driver when he's backing into the shed every night. Just remember, Thomas, never listen to women.
Oh no!
And then Thomas looks at Annie and Clarabelle. It's like, well, you heard the man.
Oh no! This is bad. I don't like this timeline.
Canonically sexist Thomas the Tank Engine.
No, that's what the think pieces are all about. We can't joke about that.
Thomas wakes up in the morning and he puffs into Farquhar Station. He says, "Hello, everybody. I hate women."
No! Don't do this to him. He's just a good boy.
Now, Toby does not hate women.
Well, absolutely. He's a feminist icon. He's gonna set Thomas straight.
Toby beats the shit out of Thomas for his sexist views. I've had enough of you, Thomas.
Your sexist bullshit's gone on too long.
You've upset Henrietta, and for that, you must die. It doesn't matter if I upset her, Toby. After all, she's only a woman. This
I
is a
think it's very
bad bit.
telling that this is all we have to say about this page.
This is a bad bit.
Yeah, this is a bad bit. Shit, I forgot. I think we forgot to say pronouns at the start of the episode, but we're allowed to make jokes about this because we're women.
Listen, we've been out of practice for the podcast for like 2 months, and we're only just getting back into it. We're allowed to make mistakes,
Just like this bit.
just like Thomas.
They walked along the line round the bend. "Jiminy Christmas!" exclaimed the driver. "Go back to the train. I'm going to the cottage." He found the doctor with Mrs. Kyndley. "Silly of me to faint," she said. "You saw the red dressing gown? You're all safe?" asked Mrs. Kyndley. "Yes," smiled the driver. "I've come to thank you. There was a landslide in the cutting, doctor, and Mrs. Kyndley saw it from her window and stopped us. She saved our lives." "God bless you, ma'am," said the driver, and tiptoed from the room.
I somehow doubt Thomas is going quick enough for crashing into some mud to be fatal.
I mean, it wouldn't have been fatal, but it definitely would have been a huge inconvenience.
So the driver is just fucking embellishing because he wants to praise the old woman.
Well, yeah, why shouldn't he? You know, she
Yeah.
did a cool thing.
Well, no, he hates women. We know this.
No, that's not canon anymore. We passed that bit.
Okay, I'm done.
Uh, I like the use of Jiminy Christmas. I think that's a very good exclamation for the story.
Holy fuck, said the driver.
You know, I also feel like if this story was done for television, they would have cut out the God from God Bless You, Ma'am, and just had it as, Bless You, Ma'am.
Yeah.
You know, which is weird because she's not sneezing, but yeah, really cool thing in Mrs. Kindly to do. She is the nicest woman in existence, and I think that's cool. I wish she was in more stories.
I actually really liked Mrs. Kindly as a kid.
Yeah, like I feel like she deserved to be in like more stories than they actually used her in. Like, having her as like a recurring character. What'd you say?
Happy Ever After, the episode with Percy in season 5.
Yeah, they used her in that. That was okay, I guess. There was also that one with like James taking her to a fun fair. I don't know. I feel like Mrs. Kindly had a lot of potential if they'd like brought her back in the Brenner era as just like a recurring like human character, like the
give her Caroline
passenger, or yeah, why aren't she and Caroline like teaming up? That'd be cool.
I think the Engine Inspector did a story with that actually.
Oh, cool.
Well, it's like Engine Inspector, Railway Inspector, the guy who did When the Engine Split.
Okay.
I think we all unanimously know who that is. This is a very nothing story.
A little bit. I'm beginning to kind of like understand why they decided not to use it, but
yeah, okay. This is.
I still like it.
I like it, but like, I kind of understand why Mari said she didn't know if this could fit 4 minutes.
Yeah. I feel
like if you like. You could add enough to this to make it substantial enough, but like you need to do some kind of big alterations.
Yeah.
Like give the engines actual shit to do, maybe.
I'm thinking about it a little bit, and I'm starting to wonder if like this story initially existed as like a Thomas story outside of the context of Toby, and then once Audrey started thinking about doing the Toby book, he just put it in this and added Toby in. And that's why Toby's not the lead character of it. And honestly, he's just kind of like mentioned in the dialogue.
I honestly would not be surprised if it's just like he had the idea for the story but couldn't really slot it into a book because he didn't have enough ideas to fill another Thomas book.
Yeah.
Because this is before the point where he really... was it like Free Railway Engines and Troublesome Engines are kind of like the outlier, but most books at this point are focused on one specific character.
Yeah. I don't know if this theory is like accurate at all, but it makes a lot of sense to think about it this way.
I like the
You want to just
illustrations
move on
in
to the
this.
next page?
I like the illustrations in this book. They're nice.
Yeah, the illustrations are nice. You know,
Yeah.
like we're about to go to the one which has peak Toby, so let's move on to that. They cleared the line by Christmas Day, and the sun shone as a special train puffed up from the junction. First came Toby, then Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, and last of all, but very pleased at being allowed to come, was Henrietta. The Fat Controller was there, and lots of other people who wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Kyndley. Beep beep, beep beep, Happy Christmas, whistled the engines as they reached the place. The people got out and climbed to the cottage. Thomas and Toby wished they could go too. So again, peak Toby, also flat running board Thomas for some reason.
I think he has flat running board in the first illustration of this story, actually.
Yeah, I'd noticed that, but forgot to point it out. It's a little weird.
Actually, he
little
has it in
funky.
the illustration with the dressing gown flapping as well.
Oh yeah. It's fucked up. But I really like this Farquhar Christmas cavalcade. It's so nice. You know, Toby and Thomas, and then Henrietta. It's just so nice. I can't wait for Toby and Henrietta to be an N scale so I can make it, even though that means running Annie and Clarabelle directly behind Thomas.
You said Farquhar.
Fuck off. Fark off.
We have a very adversarial friendship.
Anyway, I think it's a little weird that Henrietta is not the same color as Annie and Clarabelle, despite that being made a point of in the last story, but
They just didn't get around to painting her yet.
I mean, I guess. I do like that, it's kind of a consistent theme with Henrietta that she is, not expecting any of the good treatment she gets, but she gets it anyway and is very happy for it. Like, she didn't expect any passengers on the old railway. She didn't expect to be kept on the railway when Toby brought her without permission. And she didn't expect a new coat of paint in the last story. But, Toby vouched for her. And she didn't expect to come along for the Christmas train, but came anyway. I don't know why she has this mentality, but, I'm glad she's getting good things.
Maybe she just got worn down from so many years of nobody giving a fuck about her that she has no self-esteem.
God, that's so fucking sad.
And then CGI Henrietta is her after being on Sodor for a few years.
Yeah, that's her in her girl boss phase.
Yeah. Also, way, way ahead now. I like that she also gets to go to London in the books.
Yeah, it's so good. She gets to be the private carriage. That's awesome.
Why'd they cut that?
I don't know. That episode made a lot of choices.
Not many of them good.
Yeah.
Do love the crash, though.
Yeah, it's a good crash. Mrs. Kyndley's husband met them at the door. The Fat Controller, Thomas's driver, fireman, and guard went upstairs, while the others stood in the sunshine below the window. The driver gave her a new dressing gown to replace the one spoiled by the rain. The guard brought her some grapes, and the fireman gave her some woolly slippers and promised to bring some coal as a present from Thomas next time they passed. Mrs. Kyndley was very pleased with her presents. "You are very good to me," she said.
I like the fact that Thomas wants to give her some coal.
Yeah, that's not traditionally a very good Christmas present, but
But he's also a train.
Yeah, it's all I can think of.
Thomas is trying to think of things he has that he can give to somebody, and he's like, I have coal. I have water.
That's so sweet, though.
I have the broken coupling rod from last week. I don't think she wants that, though.
God, I just love how nice they're being. I love how nice they're being to Mrs. Kyndley. Even at the beginning of the story, before they'd even realize that she, saved them from a nasty situation. They saw the red dressing gown and just stopped right there. We're like, okay, we're going in, we're gonna help her right now. Because she's nice. she's a nice old lady. They legally have to. Not, not literally, but like, she's cool.
Surgery and kindness.
Yeah. It's nice.
This next
it's
end to
wholesome.
Mr. Kindly,
I
though,
love
because
it.
fuck him.
Except for who?
Mr. Kindly, fuck him.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't there to, like, help, his wife after fainting. I mean, I guess maybe he was at work,
out
but, like,
winning mad stacks in Vegas.
Okay. With Audrey, I presume.
Yes.
The passengers and I, said the Fat Controller, hope you will accept these tickets for the South Coast, Mrs. Kyndley, and get really well in the sunshine. We cannot thank you enough for preventing that accident. I hope we have not tired you. Goodbye and a happy Christmas. Then, going quietly downstairs, they joined the group outside the window, and sang some carols before returning to the train. Mrs. Kyndley is now at Bournemouth, getting better every day. And Thomas and Toby are looking forward to the time when they can welcome her home. But that's the next story!
Whoa! Make sure to join us for Railway Series Book Club next week. Next week? Week after? I don't know.
The story is nice. I like I like that the Fat Controller is giving her, tickets for a seaside vacation. I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
She's gonna
He's a
get well in
rich
the
guy,
sunshine.
and he's gonna
That's
use
cool.
his richness for good for once.
Yeah, he's like Bruce Wayne. The unrealistic fantasy of rich people actually, like, using their money for good.
Okay, but the idea of the Fat Controller being Batman.
That would be very cool.
I am darkness. I am the night. Thomas is Robin.
That's not the quote. That's not the fucking quote. It's like,
I don't care. I don't care about Batman.
I am the night. I am Batman.
I do not give a singular shit about Batman.
Watch the Batman animated series. It's good.
I probably will at some point, but like right now, no.
Oh, that's your problem then, fucko.
Well, I guess we just can't reconcile. The podcast is over.
Oh no.
Yeah. You lost Mari, and now I'm going too. It's just you now.
No. Moving on to rankings.
Mari is coming back next time, to be clear to everybody.
Yes.
She'll be back next episode. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, moving on to rankings. I was originally going to give it a Toby, because, it's a nice, sweet story. But, like, honestly, it is, it's a little bit lacking in substance, so I feel like I'm going to drop it down to a Percy. It's not bad by any means. It's a nice, sweet story that I really wish had been adapted to television properly, but, like, it feels a little bit like, it feels like there could be more to it, is the thing. And also the fact that it's a Thomas-centric story in a Toby book is a little weird. I feel like
they don't directly interact.
Yeah, they don't directly interact. I feel like having Toby be the main character wouldn't, like, change it at all or, like, elevate it into the best story ever, but it would have made a bit more sense thematically, because this is Toby's book. Yeah.
Honestly, I was originally going to give it, like, a Toby or a Duck. I'm honestly thinking, like, a James now. Because it's just kind of, like, completely unremarkable to me. Like, I don't really have any feelings on this, as depressing as that sounds.
Yeah.
I like Mrs. Kindly. I like some of the illustrations. That's pretty much the extent of my feelings on this story.
It's got the best Toby design, though.
It's got
I
good
might bump it up
Toby.
one more point just because it has the best Toby design, but
It's got good
nah.
Toby. It's got fucking Mrs. Kindly's nice, and it has some nice pages. A completely unremarkable. I kind of see why they never adapted this for the show.
Yeah. And here's what Mari has to say.
Post-production Marina here, recording in the depths of hell. Yeah, I died and went back to gay baby jail. It's surprisingly easy to escape if you know what you're doing, though. I should be back by next episode. But anyway, agree with what V and Jamie have said here. This story is nothing. It gets a James from me. I don't have anything to add. Back to you, girls.
That's some great insight you have. You're a great part of the podcast, and we appreciate you. Now we're going to move on to ranking the book as a whole.
Mari, what's it like in heaven?
I would give this book a Toby. Haha, Toby the Train Engine gets a Toby, but, it's good. It's a genuine great step up, especially compared to the last book. And Audrey is really beginning to reach his stride in terms of writing here. Like, we have a long way to go before he's peaked, in my opinion, but he's definitely got the hang of writing things now. Toby and Henrietta are wonderful characters. The Fat Controller has some great humanizing moments, and it also has the best James story. So, all the characters feel exactly like themselves. Nobody's out of character. Pretty much every story is good. We don't have any situations like, we don't have any situations where it's just one story propping up the book as a whole, or, anything like, oh, well, this book is all just kind of mediocre. No, like, every story, even this one, is good, It's a good book. This is the first book since Thomas the Tank Engine was just wholly good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually going to be a bit more generous. I'm going to say a duck. Because I love Toby and the Stout Gentleman. Thomas in Trouble's, genuinely pretty good in my opinion. Dirty Objects is amazing. And this is just kind of, mid. Introduces Toby, who is one of the most beloved characters in the series for a reason. I get Mattel just oh, he's brown, he's a boxy shit, we don't like him. But, we all love Toby. All the fucking people who are stuck with this stupid show for life love Toby.
Yeah, there's a reason they still make merchandise of him, even though he sells like shit, and that's because he's a very good and essential character.
Yeah. It's, it adds pretty significantly to Thomas's branch line, because Thomas finally has somebody to actually work off of, which is pretty cool. So, now, we got Thomas, Terrence, Birdie, and Toby all kind of hanging out in their own little corner, and then everybody else is fucking about up in Titmuth.
Yeah, and they also have Eddie and Clarabelle and Henrietta, who are, admittedly more present in the TV side of things, but, they're still there.
They're still there. They're doing their part.
Yeah.
So, I'd say this is
really
duck.
Cool.
It's by no means a perfect book, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't love it.
And here's what Mari has to say.
Post-production Marina here again. I gotta make this quick because my boy Satan just realized I'm escaping. So the book's fine. Gets a Toby from me. Ironically, the first story is really good. James in a Mess. Yes, I'm still calling it that. Is really good. And the other two are ranged from just fine to just fine. So yeah, not a bad one. 7 out of 10.
Thank you, Mari.
So yeah, this has been Toby the Tram Engine. Now,
It's been a book.
We talked a lot about the beginning of this podcast about how they made a sequel for this in the television series and then made Audrey adapt it so they could keep their contract fulfilled. That's next episode. Join us next week on New Year's Eve, I think.
We'll
As we
figure
talk
it
about
out.
Thomas's Christmas party.
This would be a lot
Mari
more
will
fun
be
of a
there.
reveal if Mari was still here.
Yeah. She's going to be reading it, so, that'd
So we
especially
need
fun,
her
but,
next episode.
We do.
She's the only one of us that actually owns a copy of the book.
Oh no.
So, well,
We'll
Jamie,
see all of you
Jamie,
next
we
time.
need,
Thank you for listening. Have a Merry Christmas.
We need to get the resurrection machine out of the vault.
We need to take her body and dip it in the Lazarus pit.
But Andrew guards that. We can't get to it.
No, the Lazarus pit isn't in the Thomas vault. That's it's not a good security feature, because then Ra's al Ghul will break into our stuff, and we don't want that.
Well, but Andrew will probably beat him.
I don't know.
Are you questioning Andrew's power? We know what happens.
I'm not questioning their power. I'm questioning, if I'm questioning, Ra's al Ghul being able to not be stopped by it, because as great a power as Andrew has, the demon's head is formidable.
This is true.
Anyway, we'll see you next time for Thomas's Christmas party.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful Christmas. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.